So this whole chapter is solving equations, chapter 2. And in chapter 1, we started with solving linear equations when we had to get slope and y-intercept. So the very first quiz, or actually the second quiz, because the first quiz was exponents, you had to be able to do solve for y, so you can find slope and y-intercept. You have to undo what's being done for y. Just like on the review sheet. And it's like on the test that I have ready, and I got through about half of Monday, Wednesday, and like I said, about a quarter of you guys. And it was, don't know what to do. And if we're going to solve other equations all throughout chapter 2, that's not good news. You know, math is what we do, is we solve. We need life to give us a problem. We assign variables to that problem so we can make an equation out of those variables, and we solve life's problems with mathematics. That's actually how you use this stuff. That's how it's applicable. But it's about solving and just follow the rules. Undo what's being done to y. We want to know what y is. We want y equals mx plus b so we can pick out the slope and the y-intercept. The next question said, find the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So there was a hint. We need y by itself. If you are hoping that this will happen and you will somehow just, the lights will go on, there is no hope in that. You can hope all you want. Hope's not going to solve equations. Okay. It's practice. And asking questions, come into office hours. When you get your test back, you really, it's all in the final. You need to redo those problems. You need to come in and go over them with me. I really think that a lot of you just need to work them out over and over and over, because you're waiting for something to happen where the light goes on. And you're not, and I don't want to say the word afraid, but it almost feels like there's that, I don't want to ask a question because I don't want to feel like everybody's going to know I don't get it. But this is for you. Forget everybody else or some other F word. If you don't take care of you, who will? Otherwise, it's just 18 weeks down the drain, and it's money down the drain, and it's another year of life down the drain. When will it change? When will you do something different because you're tired of doing what you're doing? So you have to figure out, this is where my weakest points are. Somebody is out there willing to help me. I just have to be willing to take care of it. So we got to subtract 56x from the other side, from both sides, because I want the y by itself. We're going to leave this here. So you got to show this step. You're going to subtract 56x from both sides, and there has to be an x with it. So I saw this, just 56. That's not going to cancel out. They're not like terms. Details matter. Okay. And I won't pick on you, Matthew. It's like just putting your last initial instead of your whole name. At this stage, your details matter. Your details matter. And if you focus on the details, every little tiny step, you might pay attention to what's actually going on a little bit more because you're forcing yourself to. You're forcing yourself to really focus on the tiniest of details so you don't skip something. I cannot watch TV without the captions on it. And actually, that's like 15 years going on now. Ever since they had the captions on, I think it started because of Doctor Who. I don't understand those accents, or at least I would miss something with that British accent. So you put on the caption, okay, it makes a little bit more sense now. And actually, it makes a lot more sense watching every show with captions on. It just does. And it's not obtrusive, it just kind of helps understand the show. Unless it's a live show and the captions are like a minute late. So they're telling you what they said a minute ago. And sports shows, nah, they're on. Like turn back now. Rodriguez, House Rodriguez. He talks to me. Anyway, details matter. So now you have on the left side 32y equals on the right side. You know it's going to look like mx plus b. So we want the negative 56x, and then there's the plus 128. So y, and then x, and then the constant. Negative, don't forget the negative. Then, since we just want y, no 32, this is multiplication. You undo multiplication, and we divide every term by 32. Each individual term by 32. So now you have y by itself. Take care of your signs. A negative over a positive, this is going to be a negative. And you have to simplify the fraction. Whether you whittle it down slowly, one, like they're both even, so you can divide by 2, or you find the biggest number that goes into it. So 56 and 32 are both divisible by 8. This is 8 times 7. This is 8 times 4. And then you have x plus 128 and 32. This is 4 times 32 over 32. So we y equals negative, the 8's reduced, 7 over 4x, plus the 32's reduced, 4. So the slope is the coefficient of the variable x. So it's just negative 7 over 4, not the x. It's just the coefficient of the x, not the x. And the y-intercept is the constant, the 4. That'll be on the final. Everything you have in that chapter 1 test in some way, shape, or form is going to be on the final. Okay. Then I was very explicit about how you needed to do the function problems. I even wrote it up on the day of the test. I wrote it up and I said, you need to show, number 1, you need to rewrite it. You need to rewrite it. Then you need to substitute, then you need to simplify. And the way I demonstrated it in class, so far out of the ones that I've graded, maybe 10% actually worked them out the way I showed you. Okay. G of x is x squared minus 4x. H of x is 5x plus 4. And so I would see this, and I would see, okay, down here, g of x, they would write out g of x equals x squared minus 4x. H of x is 5x plus 4. 5x plus 4. So then they would take this and they would multiply by -8. And then they would take this and they would multiply that by -8. And then they would -8x squared minus 32x. And it's like, well, where's that coming from? It's on PG, homework, blah, 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 blah. On the day of the test, I wrote it up here. Rewrite it. So this means g of -8 plus h of -8. Rewrite it. G plus h of -8 means g of -8, h of -8. Step 2, substitute. We're going to put -8 into each function. So right below it. So here's what I don't want to see, because this is what I did see. If that happened, then I saw, okay, g of -8 was. Okay, then they did this. -8 squared, no parentheses, minus 4 times -8. So they don't put parentheses, so they get the wrong answer with this. And then they do h of -8, and they get, okay, this is 5 times -8, and then a plus 4. They get -40, well, they get this. But then they get these two answers, and they don't know how to put it back together. Because they're doing each one like somewhere else. Okay? And every time I demonstrate it, every time I do this kind of a problem, rewrite it. Then we substitute g of -8 right below it. We're going to square it minus 4 times. So this one, and I even put this in a parenthesis. -8 is going to get squared minus 4 times that -8. This is g of -8. Then from left to right, I think I've said left to right. Then plus h of -8. So in here, 5 times x, so 5 times a -8. And then a plus 4. This is g of -8. This is h of -8. And we're just rewriting it. We substitute, we work left to right. So we simplify. In here, because it's in parentheses, we square it, we get positive 64. A -4 times a -8 is a positive 32. This thing plus this one over here. 5 times -8 is -40 plus 4. This is equal to positive 96. And this is going to be plus a -36. So this is 96 minus 36. Which is 60. Are you right? Substitute, simplify. and then G times H of X. So this one has X in the answer because that's what you're plugging in. You're plugging in an X. We don't want the answer because you don't have a number to plug in. But it comes with, and this is how you don't jump to the answer, you just realize, all right, first of all, what do? I rewrite this. G times H of X means function G of X times function H of X. So rewrite it, and then you substitute. G of X is X squared minus 4X. So parentheses, because you're going to multiply this thing, times H of X, which is 5X plus 4. G of X times H of X. That's what those two functions are equal to. And now you multiply it out. This is important because in chapter 2, we're going to factor whatever that product equals. So we're not multiplying things out, but we're going to reverse multiplication. So in order to factor, we've got to understand how multiplication works. It's just distribution. And here's the stumping part that I said. X squared times 5X. I'm going to write this out. It's X squared, this X squared times that 5X. And then this one times the last one. Distribute X squared to each one. This is a positive X squared. That's a positive 4, so we're going to get a plus. X squared times a 4. X squared times that 4. I'll get to the answer. I'm just writing out what it looks like first. Then we distribute the second term, the negative 4X. So this is negative 4X times positive 5X. A negative times a positive, that's going to be a negative. And that's 4X. So 4X times 5X. Find those two. And then we distribute the 4X to the 4. It's a negative times a positive, so it's a negative. And that's 4X times a 4. So that's 4X times the 4. And that's all multiplication of two binomials is. It's distribution. It turns out to be FOIL. This first term, X squared, times that first term, 5X. This outside term, X squared, times that outer term, 4, outside times outside. This inside, this inner term, times that inside, that inner term, inside times inside. And then the last term in the parentheses, times that last term in that parentheses, last times last. So it is FOIL, but FOIL only works if you have binomial and a binomial. Two terms. So it's distribution, distribute. Now we multiply. X squared times 5X is 5X to the third power. From day one, I told you the rules of exponents are incredibly important. Incredibly important. X squared times X. You add the powers. This is X squared, that's X to the first. 2 plus 1 is an X to the third. This is X squared times 4, so that's positive 4X squared. This is going to be a negative 4X times 5X, that is a 20X to the second. This is going to be a negative 4X times 4, negative 16X. Now you combine like terms, clean up what you multiplied, You gather all the x cubes together. This is the only one with an x cube, so five x to the third. Then you go gathering up your x squareds. We have four x squared, a negative 20x squared. So positive 4 minus 20 is negative 16 x to the second. And then x to the first minus 16x. And that's as far as you can take it. No like terms. Composite functions from the last page.
That, 4x squared is a 5. Would you add the exponents instead of separating
If
them?
this,
If that 4x squared was a 5, since there's a 5x to third, 5x cubed, would you be?
this has to be an x cube to combine with this.
But not if it's a 5x as well?
No, no. So in order to combine like term, the variable parts have to be identical. So I can only combine x squared with x squared. Because if I combine x cubes with x squared, what do I get? X cubes. Well, they're not all x cubes, but I get x squared. They're not both x squared. So it's kind of like saying I have 5 apples and 4 oranges. I don't get juice. Okay, so I can only combine oranges with oranges. These apples stay by themselves. Okay. So the last, not on the last page, not the last two problems, but the three problems prior to that, you have P of X was 5 minus 6x. You had R of X, which was x squared minus 9. And we had Q of X, sorry, U of X, which was 4x plus 3, half of you had. And you had to do what is U circle P of X, what is R circle U of X, and then what was U circle R, five T to the third. So again, the lecture, during class, when we did homework, and even before the test, I wrote it on the board. Make sure you do these steps. You got to rewrite it. So you need to show me that you can rewrite this. This is u of p of x. Rewrite it as a composite function. From left to right, the outer function is u. Inside that, we're going to plug in u of x. Then you're going to substitute. So we're going to do the inside first. The inside, p of x is 5 minus 6x. So now we substitute. This is going to be rewrite if necessary. Simplify. And then repeat if necessary. So this is u of 5 minus 6x. So now we plug 5 minus 6x into the u function. So we're going to replace this x with 5 minus 6x, which is what you did in the 1.3 quiz. You didn't have to start with this, though, but you did do something like this. Okay, you kind of were starting with that. You just needed to get there. Whatever you do, whatever goes in, you're going to multiply by 4, and then we have 3. So this is equal to 4 times, this goes in, 5 minus 6x, and then you add 3. 4 times 5, 20. 4 times negative 6x, negative 24x, and then a plus 3. 20 plus 3, that's 23 minus 24x. Done. U triple P of x is equal to, if you wrote it like that, perfectly fine, but you're better off writing the x term first, negative 24x, 7 plus 23. Rewrite it, substitute, simplify, repeat if necessary.
Answer of the 3 minus 24x. Can we write it in order to eliminate 24 first?
Either way, as long as the signs are correct, that 24x, it has to be negative, 23 has to be positive. That's all. Rewrite this one. The outer function is r of u of x. So r of u of x. So we rewrite it. Then we substitute. You got to do what's inside first. So u of x is equal to 4x plus 3. Then we now know what this is. We now have r of the 4x plus 3. And we're going to repeat it. We now plug this in to the r function. So we're going to replace the x with a 4x plus 3. Whatever goes in is going to get squared. And then we subtract 9. Again, same thing as what we did in 1.3. So when we plug in 4x plus 3, we're going to get that squared, parentheses, because you got to square the whole thing. And then subtract 9. Remember, when we square this, we're going to get 16x to the second plus 24x plus 9. And then we have that minus 9. It's a special product. It's a plus b quantity squared. So We square the first term, 4x squared is 16x to the second. And then we have plus 2ab. So we square the first term, a squared. 4 squared is 16 times the x squared. And then 2ab. So if you multiply these two terms together, 4x times 3 is 12x. Double it, 2 of it. So 2 times 12 is that 24x in the middle. And then plus b squared. 3 squared is 9. Or you're going to have to multiply it out. 4x plus 3 times 4x plus 3. You'll get the same answer. You just have to FOIL it out. And then you have that minus 9. So last thing we could do is 16x squared plus 24x. Positive 9 minus 9 cancel out. That's all you have left over. So we have r circle u of x equals 16 squared plus 24x. But if you don't start with this, rewrite what this actually means so you know what's going into what. I was seeing u of x and p of x. And then just almost basically multiplying those and not knowing what to do. Multiplying them together. Some people change the x to a 1. And I'm going, where's a 1 coming from? Okay, rewrite. The outer function, u. So inside that is r. Inside that is 5t to the third. You got to rewrite it first. And we start with the inside. R of 5t to the third. So we put 5t to the third into the r function. Whatever goes in, you're going to square it and then take away 9. So this 5t to the third, you're going to square that and then take away 9. You know why I gave you this problem is because rules of exponents. Five squared is not 10. 2 times 5 is 10. If you're not sure, trust your calculator, but you got to punch it in right. T to the third squared, that's power to a power. Power to a power, you multiply the powers. So t to the third, t cubed squared is going to be t to the sixth. So if I actually show every little tiny detail, when you have a times b to the m power, a product to a power, you raise each factor to that power. So we're going to get 5 to the second, and then t to the third is going to get raised to the second, and then you have that minus 9. 5 to the second is 25. Then you have power to a power. A to the m raised to the n power. You're going to multiply those exponents. A to the m times that. So this is going to be 3 times 2. This is t to the sixth power minus 9. You didn't have to show all of that. You could have gone straight to this. But that's how it all came about. So we do the inside first, simplify it, and then we repeat. This right here is this. So we're now going to get u of 25t to the 6th minus 9. So we plug that into the u function. And that's not that bad because, again, we did this kind of a question in 1.3. 25t to the 6th minus 9, starting from something like this. 25t to the 6th minus 9. Whatever goes in, just multiply by 4 and then add it. So this is going to be 4 times that 25t to the 6th minus 9. And then plus 3. Plug this in for that x. Distribute 4 times 25t to the 6th is 100t to the 6th. 4 times negative 9 is negative 36, and then a plus 3. So we get 100t to the 6th. Negative 36 plus 3 is negative 33. U circle R of 5t to the 3rd is 100t to the 6th power minus 33. Rewrite it, substitute, simplify, repeat it, whatever is necessary. And if it's not coming to you, get off your butt and come up and ask. I cannot tell you the answer, but maybe I can say something that would push you in the right direction. Right, 5 squared is not 10. That fixes quite a few things. Maybe I can't say something. But then that means you need to bring your test in office hours. Maybe you need to come, to not just 1 office hour, but 4 office hours to go through every single problem until you know, until you know what you're doing. Because it's not going to go away. You still know how to tie your shoes, right? Never going to go away. Unless you don't have laces anymore. Because I can't. My back hurt. Yeah. Got old man shoes. We're going to continue with 2.1, 2.2, and understand we're going to be doing this. We will need to know how to factor when we get to 2.4. We're going to need to know how to plug stuff into something that looks like this. If you have a times x squared plus bx plus c equals 0, then x is the opposite of b plus or minus square root. B squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. So you need to identify a, b, and c and then substitute into that quadratic formula. Then you have to be able to simplify what you just plugged in. Parentheses matter. Signs matter. Knowing how to simplify the square root matters. Knowing how to factor matters. But if you stay on top of what you're doing, if you ask questions when you need to, you don't wait till it's too late. It can work. No promises, but you need to change it. Things didn't go well in the first test. Final replaces your lowest test score, provided the final's higher. And don't wait. Fix your first test, come in, go over. Maybe go into tutoring, go over. If you're not working in the study group, find people. Whatever you can do, if it's not working, what can you change? Those questions. And again, I'm not sure it's a pen. Because I was sick yesterday, then I took away an office hour opportunity for people to come in and do bonus questions. So one more day of office hours. So now bonus questions are extended to Thursday. If you want to do the chapter 1 bonus question. So I mentioned that to 10. Come on back. At 10, I'm not going to be going over any of these test questions. Just going to give you homework back and then keep on going.